This is an ArseBros production. Follow us on Twitter at the ArseBros. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and SoundCloud at ArseBros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Ah! They fucking thought we were gone. They thought we were gone, Darren. We're not fucking gone. We're not gone. Look.
Do you reckon how many people do you think reckon that we stopped because I died? And obviously I was the most important part of the show. Do you reckon that's what people thought?
I don't think anyone fucking knew that you nearly died, really. I don't think anyone fucking listened to us, Darren. There was only 3 cunts who listened to us. That cunt who used to come on here and fucking wind you up.
What, the one who said Arteta out? Him?
Yeah, that cunt. Then there was some other person from like a fake Twitter account where I'm pretty sure that he wasn't a fucking woman.
The one who was always really pretty photo that always said, I love
always
you,
say,
yeah.
put the thing back on. I'm like, get fucked. And then someone else. But anyway, we're back. And we're back in a reduced capacity, listeners. We're back in a reduced capacity for several reasons. One, Darren nearly died from fucking cancer of the penis, as actually in his lungs. But I'm confident that it started in his cock. And then I procreated, I made more people, and had finished a master's. I did a master's. That's why we went away. Cancer and learning and children. That's why we went away. But no one's dead. We're back. We're here. We're going to do this once a month because no one gives a fuck. No one is fucking paying us. Half the people who listen to us are in India. Hello, India. And none of them have fucking anything to do with me. They come from fucking Darren when he was importing hashish through Bangladesh for 15 fucking years. And we're probably just loosely going to talk about football, probably loosely. We started off talking before about the weed trees that Darren's been trying to grow, but it's the wrong season, Darren. It's the wrong season you got told to grow dope bushes.
You see, you're trying to paint such a bad picture of me. Look at me. For those of you who are listening, let me tell you, I'm looking fantastic. You'd never know that I died and came back. All you've done is procreate. Is that what you've done?
I procreated and I improved myself. Not through the procreation. I made my life worse through the procreation. I improved myself through the university.
So what did you take a master's in?
Business.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And from our previous fucking conversations about how poorly my business is currently operating.
I was going to say, have you still got that business that was poorly run 2 years ago?
I give it away for a less than a hand job. Less than a hand job. Like over the pants, some eye contact. If anyone wants to buy a bar in Richmond in Melbourne, over the pants, some eye contact, you can fucking have it.
So we used to talk about Arsenal on a regular basis, and we were pretty rubbish. Now, since we've stopped doing the podcast, since we've stopped talking about Arsenal, we have got better and better and better, and now we're almost back to that elite status. Now, do you reckon us coming back and doing a podcast with our next 3 matches being Tottenham, Atalanta and Manchester City, do you think us coming back, and if we lose those 3 games, do you think it is all down to me and you?
Yes, I do. I mean, my prediction at the start of the season, had we got our fucking act together slightly early, we might have done some kind of pre-season review. But I actually had us always dropping down this season, always coming off the mountain and probably dropping back down to a 3rd or 4th position. And, you know, lo and behold, Darren, we booked the podcast in, gave you a call. I said to you, the subscriptions are coming up. We should probably do a podcast. You want to do once a month. And then everyone got fucking injured. Every single fucking person got fucking injured before the North London derby. And I agree, when we stopped podcasting last time, because I look back at our last 3 podcasts and it was like, gods of football, fuck this club, we're back, fuck, we're awful, right? Like one after the other after the other. And I do think that, and hear me out for a second, I think it's harder to create content when you're playing well. I think it's harder for people to create like viable, enjoyable content when we're going well. And that's why, someone like Arsenal TV, had so much success in that tumultuous period. And maybe that's why we're back, Darren. Maybe we're
Do you
back.
think? I can't tell you how much things have changed though. Look, do you know when we did our last podcast? I mean, I'm guessing now, but I think that our best player was Kieran Tierney. That was the one we were talking about, him being the future captain. We were all really excited. How things have changed in 2 years. He's fourth choice left back at the moment, or fifth. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, how the football's changed, how Mikel Arteta has changed football, and for good or for bad. I have my and it's not just Mikel Arteta. Sorry, I'm fucking word salading. I'm out of practice. It's good and it's bad. For me, Darren, I had this thought last season. Obviously, we'll talk some about the first 3 games that we played, but I had this thought last season, the season that we didn't podcast, and that was that I enjoyed the season before more than I enjoyed last season. I enjoyed the previous season when we were coming up and we had, Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka and all of these guys, and there wasn't a great deal of expectation. We were sort of charging forward. The football was interesting. It wasn't perfect. Everything wasn't structured. It wasn't also technically built in these tiny patterns and these 2-3s and then 5 fucking channels at the front. And over the course of last season, I actually found, despite the club doing really well, I actually found the football and the journey less enjoyable.
I think there's more pressure watching Arsenal again now. It's almost with having to compete against City, who just don't drop anything. Since Christmas last year, we lost 1 game, and everyone then looks at that 1 game and say, "Oh, you lost it over to Aston Villa. That cost you the title." But we were brilliant. That was the best season we'd had since the 30s. It was the most points since the Invincibles, the most wins since the 30s, the most points since the Invincibles. It became so nervous to watch towards the end that's where the enjoyment fell away for me, because there was so much pressure in every game. But I thought we were brilliant to watch. I thought we were fantastic to watch. I enjoyed that journey so much. I thought it was the best season I can remember since that. I didn't think the Invincibles was the best. The year before the Invincibles, when you had Henry and Bergkamp and Lundberg and Vieira, Petit, that team was the most joyous to watch. And suddenly we got the same. Suddenly we got world-class players popping up all over the place. Saliba and Kieran Tierney. Oh no, Saliba and Saka and Ødegaard. These players are playing at the top of their game. It was so exciting to watch. But this year, already 3 games in, and you drop 2 points at home to Brighton, and you're thinking, "Oh no!" And I don't know if I can cope with a whole season of that. What do you think?
The 90-point pace made me fucking hate football. It's made me fall out of love with football, because the degree of perfection that's required, that doesn't make for an enjoyable journey as a potential title winner, because every single game and every single minute and every single moment and every single player is scrutinized. And there's no. I was listening to this thing. I've forgotten who was talking about it, but it was someone had put up a tweet last year of one of the games Smith Rowe had played, and Anyway, he came onto the ball and he cut inside and he hit this curler with his right foot and it missed by like 6 inches. And then someone had tweeted there at the game that Arteta was going fucking ballistic at him because that wasn't the percentage play, right? The percentage play was to recycle possession and get the ball back and get to the byline. And I think that's built from that relentlessness of the 90-point pace. It's like there isn't room to have players like you anymore. You know, there isn't room to have these highly expressive players. I think Gabriel Martinelli is going to fall into this category by the quarter point of this season as well. You know, where the need for the 90-point pace and the need for perfection is kind of squashing these expression-filled players that in a yesteryear we would have loved, and the people who we see as playing football as footballers. It's making them less important. And for me, it's making football less enjoyable, even if last season we were better. We weren't as exciting. We just fucking went out there and didn't lose.
Yeah, but there was something special about that. I think, I mean, I look at that team now and there's hardly a low point in that team anymore. And this is where it's weird. I still hate Arsenal supporters. They'll find fault now in almost perfection. We had an almost perfect season, didn't quite go over the line, and yet all I hear now is Partey's crap. Last time we podcasted, I used to argue that Partey wasn't very good, and everyone told me he was the saviour of Arsenal. Now suddenly, he's no good. We need to replace him. I just think that, but I get your point. There's just so much pressure on it now, and they are robotic Arsenal players now. They come in, they have to play 2-3 different positions. They have to. It is. I mean, it's so brilliant to watch in the fact that it is so well organised. I mean, we hardly let in a goal last year. Teams had to treat us with huge respect because they just knew we keep going and going and going. Eventually, we'd win the game. But there is that point where I mean, I don't know if I'd enjoy playing for Arsenal. I don't know would there be a Liam Brady as one for the kids? Would there be will there be room in there? But then saying that, every week, Erdegaard will do something brilliant, Saka will do something brilliant, Rice will do something brilliant, even Partey. And it's those, we're getting better and better. When you think back 2-3 years ago, when we look at that team of overpaid superstars, your Aubameyangs and your
that wasn't an enjoyable. That wasn't an enjoyable time,
Ozils.
Darren. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that was an enjoyable time.
The people we had running the club. Do you remember the transfer business? People like Pepe for 75 million. The Willians. There was so much wrong in our club. How much stick did the Cronkies get from Arsenal fans? I mean, I don't want to say I was right, but I was right when I used to defend the Cronkies and say, well, actually, they're supporting the club. They're running a model that pays for itself. They're not just going to go and do a Chelsea. Let's get on to Chelsea in a minute. But they're supporting the manager, but they put in the wrong management team at the time who made some terrible errors. And it's taken us 3-4 years I mean, Cedric has just left the football club because nobody would want to pay 150 grand for a third choice left back. But we had to. We were mini Chelsea. If we had stayed with that management team, we would be in such a mess now. We'd be like Chelsea. We'd be mid-table. But I think when you look at what we've done and we look at the way we're playing, I think we're superb to watch at the moment. I love it, love it, love it. But what I don't love is the pressure now because there's no room for failure. What happens? Let me ask you a question. What happens? Let's say there's a resolution in the Manchester City 115 charges this year. Let's say there's a resolution, and let's say that they get docked 50 points or thrown out of the league.
Never going to happen.
I think
never going to happen. I think that they will get done like fucking 500 million quid in fines, which will not fucking bother them. They'll just go find it behind the back of a couch. And the best thing that we can hope for is they get a couple of years worth of transfer bans. I don't think you'll see points come off them. I just don't. And I have no reason to say that I don't, other than my complete distrust of all formal governance models in the modern day. I just don't believe it will happen.
I don't see how they can do anything but. If they're found guilty, I think they will throw the book at them. I think the opposite. I think that if they're found guilty, there's the key. If they're found guilty, then I mean, it's not as simple as the Evertons and the Leicester Cities and the Nottingham Forest, the points deductions, because that's only a small amount of the charges. So if they get found guilty on those, then there has to be a points deduction. Otherwise, the system is nonsense. But then when you go down to the base of the crux of the matter is whether they falsified accounts and lied about the way they produce their accounts, then there's even, it's got to be bigger than a points deduction. And I think there are precedents. Rangers got kicked out of football, Juventus got kicked out of of Serie A. I think that they will have to take a stand. And plus, I think that because Manchester City are sort of ruining football by winning 6 of the last 7 titles, I think it's actually probably to the benefit of the Premier League to
They've set the
push its
they've set the
sanctions.
90-point pace. We never had fucking 90-point pace before we had City. Even when you look in the pomp of Chelsea's dominance period, when they were, the elite club in European football, even they didn't have that sort of, ridiculous depth. They were still bringing that cunt off the fucking bench. What was his name? We kept getting fucking linked with him every single year. He was their backup fucking striker. There's 4 people listening in the comments. 5, fucking message me and tell me who that cunt is. We got linked with him every fucking year, and I think he was shit. Anyway, regardless, the fucking Chelsea striker, Mourinho era, late Mourinho era.
I was
skinny,
thinking Kerry Dixon.
Skinny, dark-skinned. Dark skin's the not racist way of saying black, but he was black. The fuck was his fucking name?
Drogba?
No, not fucking Drogba, you fucking cunt. What's fucking wrong with you? Colo, not fucking Colo. Fucking, come on, you 4 cunts who are fucking listening.
Chelsea
2 of you have to.
Which Mourinho?
Chelsea forever. He was
his first or his
first Mourinho era. This is a fucking good use of 5 minutes of the podcast. Darren, talk about something while I find this cunt. Useless Chelsea striker black. Ranked Chelsea.
The trouble is,
12 strikers. I've got to be in here. I'm telling you, it's going to be in here. Havertz is number 12.
Oh, your signal's going. You're going all a bit wobbly. Johnny, you're sounding like you're underwater.
Back.
Can't hear you. Get off the internet. You're losing your signal. Stop what you're doing. You're losing your signal.
All right, I stopped. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I still don't fucking know what the cunt's name was. No.
Yeah, you're right. I did kill 5 minutes. What was the point anyway?
No. Point was, Darren, that even at Chelsea's biggest period, their best period, that they didn't have the sorts of resources that City have. And, they didn't run 90-point paces. And we were talking about the fact that City have ruined football through this kind of ridiculous stockpiling of players and making it so to be competitive, you essentially need to have 2 teams, potentially more than 2 teams running out. And it folds into conversations about Emile Smith-Rowe and Reece Nelson, and the next one will be Ethan Nwaneri.
Yeah, difficult one to say, especially for me, because even when I said Aubameyang earlier, I wanted to say Adebayor.
I can see this fucking Chelsea player's face in my head. I can fucking see him.
Sterling.
No, No, it's not Sturridge. It's not Sterling. He was
Sturridge, that's what I was
French. He
thinking
was
of.
French. He was
Oh,
fucking
okay.
French.
Um,
Or a colony of France. He might have been from Cameroon. Anyway, I don't fucking know what we're talking about anymore. The point was that City have ruined fucking football, and that the best thing that can happen to football is that City get fucked off out of football, because it might make it more interesting to watch if the point pace is, say, between 70 and 80. That's a fun season to watch, Darren. It's a fun season to watch because it means not every single moment, not every single loss means that you've just fucking flushed the title. And it felt like that after Brighton.
But my question was, if they, although I didn't get to finish the question, if they get docked points or thrown out of the league, my question is, will it be a hollow victory if we actually went on to win the league this year?
No, because they're cheating fucking cunts. They're cheating cunts. Is that enough? Like, that's enough for me. It's okay.
So, all right. Let me think.
What was his name? Ben fucking Johnson. Ben Johnson won the 100 meters in, what was it, the 91 Olympics, and he beat fucking Linford Christie. And he fucking pinged for steroids the next day. Do you think Linford Christie gives a fuck?
No, but then what happens to the last 5 years? Because the charges are over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years. Do Arsenal get awarded 2 titles?
No. That's fucked. What are we going to do? And doesn't that mean Tottenham win one? Because fuck that. I would give mine up if it means that Tottenham fucking win one.
I don't think they did, didn't they? Because Tottenham, didn't they finish second when Leicester won it? Oh no, we just picked Tottenham to that, didn't we?
That was when I thought we'd fucking won it. That was when Welbeck scored the header against Leicester, and I fucking ran into the bedroom and jumped on the missus and started screaming, "That guy! It's that guy!" She wasn't happy. It wasn't good for anyone.
So you're okay this year winning it if they get points deducted, and that will feel fine.
100%, you fucking cheating cunts.
Yeah.
Do you see our fucking bench on the weekend? Our bench is still full of fucking kids and academy players. Yeah, that's the way a football club's meant to be run.
I think the jinx is, I mean, losing Timber on his debut last year, losing Calafiori on his first training session this year,
Marino.
Marino breaks. Sorry, who did I say? Calafiori. Sorry, Calafiori gets injured on the first international break. Why are we still having international breaks 3 weeks into the start of the season?
There's too much. There's too much football, Darren. There's too much football, and everyone knows there's too much fucking football.
Did you hear Declan Rice? I didn't watch the England game. I'm never that bothered at these friendlies, but I read the transcript of Rice's interview, and he says, "I know I've been a bit rusty playing for Arsenal," and this is back to my hating Arsenal fans. All of a sudden, I've been hearing, "Oh, Rice is shit, is shit, is shit." He had a fucking week off. And then he had to go and play. He was doing his pre-season training in the Premier League. That's not the way it should work. He should have, and this is where I think Guardiola's got one up on Arteta, is that Guardiola gave and he's got a better squad, but he gave all of his players an extra week or 2 weeks off, so they had a rest, and they've come back storming. And we already look, we've got players who are tired. Saka has had the same. He's had 2 weeks off.
we look tired from the first kick of the first ball, Darren. Against Wolves, I thought we could have been to that game. Like there was definitely a period of time.
Oh yeah, you sent me a message where you thought we should have lost our first 2 games. What are you talking about?
I think that we played well in both of those games for a very small period of time, and the rest of the time we looked tired and scrappy and unimaginative. Do you know what this reminded me of the start of this season? It's reminded me of the worst part of Arsene Wenger, a bit like pass the ball into the back of the net. And it might be an energy thing, or it might be a personnel thing, playing Kai up front and, a few bits and pieces to do with the squad. But it's felt to me like the structure is so set within Mikel Arteta's system the rigidity there is so strong that it doesn't really allow for any kind of fringe players to explode off and do something exciting. And it reminds me of that period of time of Arsene Wenger when I was like, someone fucking shoot the ball. Someone have a ping. Someone put their fucking laces through it.
Yeah,
And I agree
but
with you. I think we look tired as fuck. I think Rice has come back absolutely shagged. Saka has come back absolutely shagged. Erdegaard's gone and got injured now. And I kind of said at the start of the season, I was like, almost everyone in the squad can get injured except for Erdegaard.
yeah.
If Erdegaard goes down, there's no natural replacement for him.
No. Although I think he does see Wanyeri as that replacement. I think the way he's got rid of Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson and Nketiah, they're fringe players. They never got any minutes. I've got no issue with selling those. It was very, very sad to see Smith Rowe go. It was very, very sad to see these players come through the academy. But if you're not going to play them, I think he started 4 games last year, Smith Rowe. That's not a good squad backup. So replacing these players with a Marino and all that. But then what happens when you get, and he's obviously seen Wanyeri as being the replacement for Erdegaard, but it ain't very good at the moment, is it? Our next 3 games, Tottenham away, Atalanta. Remember Atalanta
But he
won
won't
the
even
Europa
play him,
League last
Darren.
year.
He will not fucking play him. He'll play
I think
him.
he has to.
No, he
Who's
won't.
he play?
He'll play a midfield 3. He'll drop Kai. I think he'll drop Kai back into the 8.
Yeah,
I think he'll
Trossard
play
up front.
I think he'll play Trossard in the false 9 with Martinelli and Saka either side of him, and I think he'll play Havertz, Rice, and Partey. Wait, is Rice available, or is he fucking?
Rice is suspended.
Then he'll play Jorginho. He'll play Partey, Jorginho.
Okay, so where I don't agree with that is Tottenham. I haven't watched any of Tottenham's games, but I've listened. I've read the reports, and apparently they have been incredibly unlucky, as in they've created 20 good chances a game, and they've just not been able to put them away. And the way they play with a very high line, and they run through, they attack at pace. Do you think by putting Jorginho next to Partey will help us against Tottenham? There's really no pace there, is there?
I don't think so. I don't think it's.
You're on the internet again, aren't you? You're typing away and I can't hear you.
I am. I'm still trying to find this fucking cunt's name.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll think of it. Chelsea player.
It bothers me. French started with a K. Either French or French colony started with a K. Drogba era. Kalou. Fucking Solomon Kalou. Thank you, Scunny.
See, I wouldn't have got that in a million years because
Solomon fucking Kalou.
I don't remember us ever being linked to him.
We were fucking linked to him every single year. Every single year we were linked to Kalou. He never fucking did anything. The cunt never did anything. He barely played games. Professional fucking bench warmer. Thank you, Scotty.
I don't remember him ever being linked to us. So that was a whole pointless point of this. What were you trying to say? What was the point of Solomon Kalou?
The point fucking was that Chelsea at their most dominant, Solomon Kalou was the fucking next man up at their most dominant period. Even they didn't have like fucking Shevchenko for no. Oh wait, they did have Shevchenko that era.
Yeah, I think you're misremembering how much money Chelsea spent. They bought everyone. They bought Torres for 50 million when he was on his way out. They had backups for backups.
They had to play fucking Torres. Like they bought him and they had to play him. They didn't fucking buy him and just rot him.
I think you're forgetting that guy Roman Abramovich changed football before Manchester City. He came in
football and starts. Yeah.
He came. He bought everyone. He bought the best players in the world. And let's just take a moment. What do you make of Chelsea now? Are you? Yeah, I'll put it another way. It's a basket case of a club. Their transfer policy is incredible.
Do you know what a vajazzle is, Darren?
Yes.
Yeah, they are a vajazzle of a football club.
They are a basket case because the way they've got too many players. You've just got too many players. You can't. They've got 40 players, 40 senior players, and they can only play 11. They can only train 20. So it's a strange club. They're going to have a lot of unhappy people, but that 11 that plays, there are some good players in there. You know, there are
I
some
thought that, but
really, really good
I
players.
thought that last season. I thought when I looked at Chelsea's team last season, I was like, that's the backbone or the basis of a good team. But you can't have any harmony with that many players. There's no fucking harmony there. And how do you get under any form of financial fair play with that level of squad? You know, I don't care if you're what's the fucking terminology where you spread the cost over a 10-year period.
Did you say it was a master's in business?
Yeah, but I've forgotten the term. I've forgotten the term for it now. But basically, if they sign people up on 10-year contracts, what they do is they spread the cost over that 10 years, and that 10 years allows them.
What's it called? Annual. Now this one's bugging me now. Annual annualized. No, what's the word? You spread the cost. What's that word? Come on.
That's the word I'm looking for. I just did it in my masters. Anu. Solomon Kalou. Solomon Kalou.
Amortize.
Amortization.
See, amortization. There you go.
We fucking did it. We got there.
Without looking up.
Even if you do that, it's going to be very difficult with that number of players and those sorts of transfers and bringing people together. But unfortunately, in some ways, and you, I mean, you put it quite well, you know, Abramovich may have opened the door, but Man City fucking took a jackhammer and sledgehammers to it and turned it into a barn. Like they've bought this on football. You know, I remember people used to say to me back in the day, the reason why the Premier League is the number one, football association on the planet is because anyone can win. You know, anyone can come out of anywhere and do it.
Yeah.
And we used to look at, you know, Germany and go, oh, we'd hate to have a league where you have a Bayern Munich. And we'd look at, Spain. So, oh, you'd hate to have a league where you got a fucking Real Madrid. Well, you know, go back for the last 6 years and we've got fucking City. We got City.
Right.
Even the fact, and I tell you what, I'll give Liverpool a bit of a big up here. Liverpool did City. It nearly killed them to fucking do it, and they needed to go get 2 or 3 of the best players in the world and have everyone fit all of the fucking time. But Liverpool managed to do them without doing it like them. They did it with still a fairly financially sustainable model over a period of time. They did it with some juniors. You know, for them to have climbed that mountain, and, you know, now that we've done it, I've got quite a lot of empathy for them, but for them to have climbed that 90-point mountain and lost, and then gone and done it, yes, in the fucking COVID season, so it's got an asterisk next to it. But,
I think they got very lucky with the sale of, was it Coutinho for 130 million? That worked well, didn't he? 2 years later, he's on a free to Aston Villa. Do you know that's one? Whoever made that deal must be very, very proud.
Yeah,
you go and buy Alisson and Van Dijk.
One of the things that I think is going to be really tough for this season is, you know, when you have a taskmaster like Arteta and he's come from that Pep mold, I think one of the reasons why or how Pep continues to be successful at City is his message doesn't get old because he turns over the players fast enough.
Well, isn't that what Arteta's doing?
Not really. Not really. He's got very much this same core amount of people, and I get this feeling, and I had this feeling from the start of the season, that what it took to get those players up and to get them to that level, that level of intensity and that messaging, you know, it could get old. You've only really got a 3 or 4 year window with a group of players to get them up.
Yeah, but this is where I disagree. So who's been in our top 5 players, should we say, for the last 2 seasons is Ben White. Would you agree with me there?
Ben White, Saka, Gabriel.
Yeah, so my point being on Ben White, maybe let's take it back a year. Our favourite and one of our best players the year before, are we talking about not this season, not last season, the season before, was a goalkeeper called Aaron Ramsdale. Fantastic. We loved him, really happy. Made a few mistakes towards the end of that campaign, and we forgave him because we loved him. He signs a new 5-year deal, and the next day we get in another goalkeeper and he loses his spot. That's ruthless. Ben White has been probably in our top 5 players for the last 3 seasons. And then he buys another right back in Julian Timber. And I know that Timber can play in various positions, but that, I think, if everything had gone to plan, I think we would have seen him replace Ben White. It makes Ben White a fantastic squad player. He can play in a centre, he can play as a replacement right back.
Before that, Tommy Arsu was this fucking second coming of fucking...
Yeah.
I was trying to think of prominent Japanese figures in history. The fucking Shogun.
But then look, so now we buy Calafiori, who, without any question, his best position is the left side of a central defence in a place where we have Gabriel. I am sure when things are all well and good that our defence will be Saliba and Calafiori, because that's who he's bought him for. I think then on the left we will see Tomiyasu or Timber, because I think, you know, he is buying players that can play in any things, but I think he thinks that Calafiori is 2 or 3% better than Gabriel, and so I think he is changing the squad. If you look at the ones that went out this year, the Reece Nelsons, the Emil Smith Rowes, he is, and then he's brought in Mikel Mourinho, another new face. He's brought in Sterling, another new face. You know, so I think he is being ruthless. He's always been ruthless. More ruthless than I'm comfortable with. I hate it when the thing he did to Ramsdale. I love Mikel Arteta. I think he has saved our club and he has turned us back into a club that I love going to watch. But what he's done with the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, it hurts me. It hurts me that he's
you want to be the best. You want to be the best. You got to be fucking ruthless, ladies and gentlemen. Scunny Mike,
I've made it.
You have made it, my friend. How are you?
I've made it. Sorry, I had cleaners. I am rich, you see, so I have my own cleaners.
You do. You do have. You do.
I'm not at all.
Well, you must be down a couple of children now. Aren't you down a couple of children? 2 of them must have been fucked off. Have the twins fucked off?
No, not yet. They're 18, but they're not fucked
That's
off.
That's fucking time to get. That's time to get them out, mate. Get them fuck out.
Honestly, it's not without trying, but the way of the world at the minute is, mate, everything's just so expensive and it's ridiculous. Especially for I'm not going to go into whole politics and stuff like that, but for young kids, it's ridiculous.
What have you made of this train wreck of a conversation between Darren and I so far?
Well, I've been listening in, and the only thing I can really remember and everything else like that is Solomon Kalou. I was helping you out on this one, but you really threw me when you said it was French. It's not French. It's from the Ivory Coast, you penis.
I said French or French fucking colony.
So, it's from the Ivory Coast, so that's what really threw me. And then you said it began with a K, and I'm thinking, who the hell begins with a K? The only ones I can think of is Kalou and Kesman. Neither are fucking French.
Well, never put it on me, Scunny, to get the particulars of a story in any form.
But, but other than that, you know, it's nice to finally be back. I'm sorry that I don't have a camera anymore. It's been
no fucking watches numerous. Anyway. No one ever fucking watched us.
No one, But it's been nice to come back and hearing Darren again talking about what we was all saying before about Kieran Tierney being the best thing since sliced bread. And wow, how times have changed since we've come back.
Yeah, I was Scunny. I was remembering the other day about when I went on that mad love-in on what was his fucking name? Midfielder Spanish. We got him from fucking Real.
Cazorla.
No, not Cazorla.
No, he was good. Are you thinking about somebody who wasn't so good? Because you followed a lot of not very good players. Ainsley Maitland-Niles. When we started this podcast,
what was his name?
The thing is, Darren, he's going to say he's Spanish, but the problem is he won't even be Spanish. He'll be probably like South Korean or something.
He was Spanish, and I fucked his name up on a podcast so badly, no one ever let me forget it. What's his fucking name? Ceballos. I was thinking back to a time when I thought Ceballos, back when we used to have 3-2-1s and 1-2-3s, Ceballos ended up getting like our player of the season, and you know, devastated.
And every single person that listened to us disagreed with us massively.
It wasn't a flawed system. You got 3 points for being good, or you got 3 points for being shit. And he didn't get any points for being shit. And then he went on a run where we all gave him man of the match, and it was like fucking 12 points. He ended up winning it. But I was reflecting on this period of time that we came from when we started podcasting, and through the Aubameyang era and the Lacazette era, and coming out of that now to this, this time, like Darren was saying, where, last season we were essentially, near perfect. But is it more enjoyable, Darren? Is it more enjoyable, Scunny? Is it, how do you feel? How do you feel about watching the football now compared to watching the football a couple of seasons ago?
Oh, come on. It's got to be better.
It is better because it's less stressful. You're not sat there. Because you're not sat there constantly screaming at a TV screen, or when fortunate to go to the games and stuff. You're not screaming and then going to the pub afterwards and absolutely having a barn it just because your team lost, and they lost so shit because of these shit players that we have these days. The likes of Aubameyang, the likes of Ozil, the likes of Lacazette, and all them players that we used to Mustafi.
The fucking Mustafi. Do you remember Toby had a fucking hard on for Mustafi? He thought he was fucking great, and he was underrated.
He wasn't underrated. He was,
speaking of which,
pretty much, yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things. So it's nice to sit and actually enjoy the football, and it's nice to see your team doing well, and it's nice to actually watch a team progressing. It's nice to see the certain keys and these certain elements coming together. And all right, we was near perfect last season. I think it takes a lot to get over the line in the Premier League now. You have to be pretty much
90 points,
99% perfect,
just
to get over the line in the Premier League. And if you're not it's difficult.
And lucky, Scunny.
The luck's got to come into it somewhere.
Season. You've got to have Saliba fit all season.
Yeah, and I think this is where we're going to start seeing differences, in this season. Like look at now, for instance, we've got pretty much every midfielder on the table. Do you know what I mean? It's not looking good so far, but I think this whole thing that I've been seeing at the moment, we're 2-3 games in, and people are losing their shit already.
Yeah.
It's like, are you serious? Like, why are you losing your shit? It's 2-3 games into the season, and it's like, oh no, you might as well have just dropped a meteor on the earth, haven't you? It's absolutely.
But that's the 90-point pace. The 90-point pace.
And I agree with what you were saying.
City started off fucking shit last season as well. They had a shit run last season, and then they came good.
At the beginning of their year, they had a massively shit run. And we had a really good run. We had our usual Christmas period, and then we started having a really good run of games towards the end of the season. And you go back to what Darren says. You lost against Villa, which cost you the season. It's like, well, no, it's not just that reason what cost us the season. There is a lot into it. But if you look at last season as a whole, I think it was, in fairness, it was a massive failure for us. You may not agree with this, but we didn't win anything.
No, that's true.
We didn't win one thing. True. And, it's this whole thing about why was last year... We was really good last year. Don't get me wrong. The team was absolutely brilliant. But why did we not concentrate on getting a cup? We knew the Premier League was a really long
because
shot.
Who wants to be fucking Man U? Who wants to be standing there fucking enjoying the fact that you won a fucking League Cup?
Look,
it's a trophy, isn't it? It's something to.
No, I agree.
We've won trophies in the time that we've been shit. We've won fucking FA Cups in the time that we've been shit.
Everyone celebrates that fact that we've won.
I know.
Won the most FA Cups.
It's
and
like
we had
rooting
in that fucking team.
Scunny, it's like rooting a fucking ugly woman or trying to root a beautiful woman and failing. Sometimes you want to try and root the beautiful woman because one day, Scunny, you're going to put your penis inside her. One day.
Yeah, it's
going to happen.
And that day is going to be when you pay for her. And it's not going to work out, is it? You've got to get the money first to pay for that woman. And if the only way to pay for that woman is to start winning cups, that's the only way you're going to pay for it.
Toothless fucking fat girl with one tip bigger than the others. That's what the League Cup is. And I get it.
Sometimes, Max, you've got to do the munters before you get to the...
Oh, Scunny, I've slayed some dragons, mate. I've done some.
Exactly, you've got to slay
I've done
those
some
dragons. It's
I've done
got to be
some-
done.
I've done some terrible things. Some of them more enjoyable than others as well, actually. I once fucked this girl who can only be explained. I'm doing a bit of a Trump thing here with my hands. Can only be explained as it was like fucking a
You're doing some
couch.
grabbing there, yeah.
That's how wide it was from behind. It was like a couch. It wasn't even a league cup. It was an
Did you
Emirates
enjoy it?
cup.
That's the main
It was
thing.
It was fucking great. She was fucking
Well,
fantastic.
there you go. You see, if you
She was
enjoy it,
fucking-
what's the issue?
She was fantastic. We've lost Darren. He's dropped out, but fuck him. Anyway, Scummy, just quickly, what have you... I know there's a lot of emotion around the, Emile Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson. There's a lot of emotion around that. What have you made of that? How do you kind of deal with that in your own mind? Are you of the opinion, like many are, which is like, well, none of you were good enough onwards and upwards, or, do you, hold a little candle for those boys, those Hale End boys who we love so much?
Yeah, it is. It is sad to see, some talent go. Eddie, not so much. I'm never really a massive fan of Eddie. He was good in certain games, but the problem is when you're in a striker and in a top team, you need to be more ruthless in front of goal, and he just wasn't. So
Plenty of opportunity as well.
What we talking
Yes.
about? I got kicked out. What are you talking about? I got kicked out for a few minutes.
We're just talking about the Hale End boys who have left, and what we think of that.
Yeah, so just to carry on, obviously, I wasn't a massive fan of Eddie, and I thought Eddie it's money that can be spent elsewhere for me. He's come from Arsenal. We haven't paid, we've only done paid his wages, to be fair. That's it, So any money that we can get from a team to come and buy him, it's money that we didn't actually have before, and it's extra. And I just think it didn't work out for Eddie. And like you say, he had his chances. And in all fairness, for me personally, I just don't think he took those chances. Obviously, a sad one for me is probably Smith-Rowe more than any of them, because I really enjoyed watching him play. I agree with you on this 90-minute thing. He just wasn't that person to go with that. He was more an expressive midfielder.
Don't you think? And this may be a criticism, unfair criticism, but is it because he's a bit stupid? And when I'm talking about, Arteta.
I've missed you, Darren.
Arteta wants bright footballers. Pepe never made it because he was stupid. And I think there's a lot of this is that he only wants players who get him, and he got rid of the flash ones first. He got rid of the big salary second, and now he's getting rid of the stupid ones. And I think that's the reason that he got rid of Smith-Rowe. And bless him,
I don't think he's stupid. I just don't think I think he was more expressive than what Arteta wants, to be honest. He's more of an expressive
I can imagine him just...
I
London
can probably agree with you with Nelson
imagine...
and Nketiah.
Well, yeah, I can just imagine that Arteta's got them all in a circle, in a semicircle on a London Colney, and he's explaining something deeply tactical. And Smith-Rowe I'm sure, would have just been looking up to the sky. And, he was dreaming. He would have been dribbling slightly, I think. And I just think there's that little bit that was missing with him that is why Arteta never played him. He couldn't trust him to concentrate for 90 minutes because he'd be looking at someone in the crowd and he'd see a dog, or I think there'd just be something there that stopped.
Like
I never got the impression he was particularly fucking stupid, Darren. So
I wouldn't say he was stupid. I just think he's more of an expressive. I'll do what I fucking want.
I think what ended up happening with Smith-Rowe is he burst into the team. There was a period of time where he had his opportunity. He had a lot of problems with, I think it was groins. Was it groins? He had pretty sure he had a lot of problems with groins. He grew quite big, quite fast.
Well, to be fair, he's probably going after them dragons, mate.
It's true, mate. It's true. You know, and he didn't make it. And I agree with you, Scunny. You know, that one hurts me. But the probably the reason why that one hurts me more than the others is that Smith Rowe to some extent made it. You know, he came into that team, he scored in big games, like he delivered. And it's always harder to let someone go who's made it. You know, Eddie scored goals. He had a couple of cracker games, but there was always a stench of not potentially quite good enough. You know, and we're going to see whether these guys are good enough as well. We're going to see when they move into teams where, you know, they don't have intense amounts of possession and whether or not they end up being good enough. Look, you know, for me, it was it was sad to see them go, but I just don't think that at a certain point, once you put a certain amount of games into people and you've seen them as much as we've seen them, that you can in good conscience say, as a football club, we're going to go and try and win everything, but we're going to keep these guys here.
Yeah,
and I think they might have asked to leave as well to get game time.
Think about it from Arteta's point of view. If you to try and keep those players happy, which predominantly he has, hasn't he? For the last 2 years, he's got a real togetherness with both the fans, the players. They all enjoy being at Arsenal. That's what they all talk about. But if you're not playing for year after year, week after week, month after month, year after year, you're not playing, eventually you're going to sour that dressing room because there's too much negativity around. That's what's going to happen at Chelsea. So, you know, these are wealthy young men who want to go and play football. And I think, you know, he's looked around and he's looked at Smith Rowe licking the window over there, and he's looked at he's looked at Nketiah, and you know, and he's probably thought, right, these I can't motivate these players anymore. They have to go, and it is money. And he's brought in new players, and he's bringing in high quality players. I've got no issue with buying a 28-year-old. You know, there's no resale there. You know, but we've got lots of players with good resale. We've bought lots of good players: Saliba, Ben White, you know, Ødegaard. People at the start of their careers who are getting better and better. But to fit in a couple of experienced people, what do you make of the Sterling signing? Because I hated that up front, but it makes a bit of sense to me. But I've never been a fan.
Yeah,
puts a fucking rocket in Martinelli.
Well, it's not just that. I think Martinelli's gone down the pecking order, hasn't he? And I think there's a reason why Martinelli's gone down the pecking order.
He's the next one who's in the danger zone.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, which is a massive shame because I'm a massive fan of Martinelli. But I have to agree with everything you've just said there. You know, it's a case of, you know, you've got to do right by the team, and you've got to be part of a team. You can't do what you want per se, and Martinelli is not that type of player. Like I say, he is an expressive player. He likes to do these expressive things.
He likes to,
you know,
he's not a
he does. Yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a hell of a player, but is he marketing what Arteta wants throughout his team? Probably
I actually
not.
wonder if what Arteta has asked Martinelli to do has made Martinelli less Martinelli.
I
agree. Yeah.
And I don't think we will see that much less of him because he still does what Arteta wants. He chases back. He's a defender as well. He attacks with the team and he defends.
But what came through, Darren? What came through and what's there now? That's not the same. Some of the things Martinelli was doing.
Isn't the idea that he's bought Marino, you know, and Calafiori, and you know, to try and improve that left-hand side. You know, we are very right-hand side dominant, aren't we? With the great players like Ødegaard and Saka, and he's trying to recreate that. I think, you know, it obviously doesn't work with Rice and Martinelli. It's not worked there with that. So I think by changing that dynamic, he is trying to improve that. I don't see Sterling as a long-term answer because I don't remember Sterling running back and defending and chasing.
No. I think Sterling will be a game finisher when you're chasing a goal.
Sterling's there to score. Sterling's there to score goals or create chances. And I think that again is something that we have lacked.
And Trossard isn't very good off the ball as well. Everyone sort of sees Trossard come on and sprinkle this magic dust on. He's not fucking very good off the ball. And when Trossard comes on, he plays interior. Martinelli selfishly plays exterior, and by playing exterior, he drags defenders fucking out with him. So even though his production may not be there, what he does physically and what he does athletically down the left-hand side provides quite a lot of structure for the rest of the team to open up and move into space.
Do you know, I've just thought of this, and it just makes pure sense to me. On Sunday, North London derby, I would not be at all surprised if we see Sterling start as centre forward. You know, they play a very high line. They play a very high line, and if he's not, you know, I mean, this is forced on us with the injuries to Rice and to Ødegaard, but it wouldn't surprise me just to see him stand up on that halfway line. They play a very high line, Tottenham, and we just kick balls over the top to him. You know, he's
actually quite a good shout. Actually, I never thought
he fucking hates Tottenham as well.
You are going to see Havertz probably drop back.
Oh yeah, Havertz. I see Havertz playing in midfield with maybe Ranieri, certainly with Partey.
It's going to be fucking Partey, Jorginho, Havertz. Partey, Jorginho, Havertz.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jorginho.
I don't think, and I'll tell you why. I don't think this early in the season, with Arteta knowing that he's going to need Nyanweri, I don't think he's going to feed him to the fucking Wolves on a North London derby. You'd be fucking... If he goes out there and he has a shit game, you fuck that cunt for the season. You give him herpes.
Yeah, there's also the opposite side to that. You know, as a lot of players made their names because they did so well. You know, look at Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe scoring against Tottenham when they were in their early parts of their careers. If Ranieri is that sort of confident player, he played him when he was 15. You know, he's 17 now. He played all of pre-season. He looks fairly comfortable. And I'm not saying that will be the choice, but I think Jorginho and Partey is a very slow midfield when you've got Tottenham who play in a very quick fashion. I'm not sure that will work. But I think just sticking Sterling on the halfway line, and that's our out ball, you know, because he's still fairly quick and he's a great finisher. I wouldn't be surprised.
I always thought that eventually Martinelli would make his way inside to centre forward. I always thought that was going to be his landing spot, and it hasn't happened. And I don't think all of a sudden he's going to play him there. I honestly think the most likely thing is you'll see a front three of Trossard in the false nine, which he's done for us before, with Martinelli and Saka either side, you know, and then super boring in the midfield. This stage, don't lose it. Don't lose it this time of year. Don't fucking lose it.
Yeah, I do think that'll be the case in some respect. I can see Sterling starting and Trossard.
Don't forget, you got to fucking bench as well. You got to bench as well. What starts doesn't finish. You know, don't go out there and fucking lose it in the first 30 minutes to fucking Spuds and get fucking done. I think you'll play really structured. You'll try and hold on to possession. You have a decent front three. You'll try and feed balls into them. Jorginho is a lovely passer of the ball. He was fantastic for us last season. Really underrated. After all these fucking people jumped up and down about the fucking Jorginho signing, then all these fucking Arsenal fans jumped up and down about the Raya signing, and then all these fucking cunts jumped up and down about the fucking Havertz signing, and they all fucking played well. So shut the fuck up, you fucking cunts.
That seems quite a nice way to end it on one of Max's rants. How's your brother, by the way? I miss Toby. How's your brother?
He's still got the same fucking hair. He still looks like Stone Jesus. Fucking cunt.
Well, I miss him.
Nothing new. Jesus. You know? All right. We said we were going to do an hour. We did an hour. Actually, it was really once Scunny came on. Once Scunny came on, we really tied everything together. It really did.
I was a bit slow to start.
I find sometimes, you know, Scunny's like the thumb in the arsehole, right? They don't know that they need it until it's been added. And then the thumb's in and everyone's happy. Everyone's just fucking joyous, you know, because they've done what they need to. I didn't think we'd end up talking about football. I didn't know that I cared enough about the football. But we're going to be here and we're going to be doing once a month, or like somewhere around there or whatever. So like, don't fucking hold us to account if we don't do it for a day, because no one's fucking paying us. Well, it was 7, and then Scunny came into the room, so now we got 6. No, don't fucking have a go at us if we're not here. If you're one of our 7 followers, we're just fucking doing our best. Just doing our best. And remember, when in doubt, add a thumb.
is an ArseBros production. Follow us on Twitter at the ArseBros. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and SoundCloud at ArseBros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.